It's impossible to be an isolationist when you see, by pure luck of where you are born, this is what happens.
Yeah, well, this is
I was born in San Mateo. I wasn't born in Syria. That is pure luck.
Yeah. What I want to say is that this is, the byproduct of it. When you see images like this and the suffering that continues to happen over there, we can't turn a blind eye to it. We should have done something when we said we were going to. Dictators and people like this look for clues and messages, and when you have a president that says he's going to draw the red line and does nothing, it's feckless, and that's a nice way of putting it. ISIS is now operational in 28 countries, okay? So the fact that they were called the JV team, the fact that we didn't follow up when we drew the red line, it's awful. I mean, this is the result. And when you look at that picture there, it should tell you how much has gone wrong over this failed foreign policy of Barack Obama, and you ask yourself, do you want 4 more years of that?
My friend wanted to hold on for 1 second. You were one of the first to point out that red line drawn, that he didn't follow up on Barack Obama, was going to come back and haunt him, and it seems to be.
Right, and now the next president will have to deal with it as well. I called it the day that President Obama wrecked the world. It might be a little melodramatic, but I think that there are consequences for action, but there are also consequences for inaction. We have 450,000 innocent people have been killed. There's been a realignment in the region where now you have Russia trying to do our work, but they're actually helping Assad, and they're using Iranian air bases to do so. Sometimes you can lead from so far behind that you end up kicking your own rear end. The other thing about this picture, about this little boy, is there was another picture about 2 years ago. And it was a little boy that washed up on shore, right?
Yes.
Remember that? And that was when we talked about the refugee crisis. The refugee crisis that is affecting Europe right now and that is really destroying communities. I mean, it is tearing Europe apart. That could have been prevented if we acted. Now that, again, is hindsight's 2020. If we had acted, there would be other consequences, and we might be complaining about what he or didn't do at that time. But I also believe that that President Obama should do what he can to set up the next president for at least some sort of action that they can take in January.
I don't want to leave you alone. So I think you and I may have been the people that Greg were talking about at the table who said we're not into nation building and maybe this isn't our fight.
Well, the question is, were the American people war weary after what had gone on in Iraq, what's going on in Afghanistan, the troops and all the rest, and questions about exactly what we can do and can't do. Remember, the Congress would not authorize President Obama, as much as President Obama is responsible for having drawn the red line. When he slowed down and went to Congress, they never said, oh yeah, go right ahead. Here's
but the key point on that one is that he didn't need their permission to do it. Congress said, we believe that you have the authorization to do it to fight terrorism.
No, that was the Republicans who said that. And they're the majority, so arguably yes, but the reason he slowed down was he said he wanted, because of the political resistance in this country from both sides, everybody being a little leery of getting into another big conflict, he wanted Congress behind him. Congress wouldn't go. But I got to tell you, I'm with Eric on this. My grandson's 6. I saw that picture today. I thought, how can we not do anything to help that little guy? By the way, I mean, it turns out he has no brain injury. He's been discharged.
Thanks be to God.
He's back with his mother and father, and he's got, I think, 1, 6, and 11-year-old siblings, and they're all back together, so that's great. But I would point out that I think at this point the key is that the bombing that took place was done apparently by the Russians.
Right.
Who are going after now people who are opposed to Assad.
Well,
this is madness.
And I've been with you on this as well, but some of the people, there are those who think that the void, the vacuum that was left in place by Obama not doing anything was filled by ISIS and Russia. And the Russians.
The Russians. Yeah. And by the way, the Russians
and
are
we
now...
spent $1 billion to train the Free Syrian Army. Unbelievable.
Okay, they want us to move on to this. Another Obama administration foreign policy failure, our disastrous deal with Iran. Remember that $400 million cash payment to the mullahs on the same day 4 American prisoners were released? The White House denied it was ransom money, but today the State Department has essentially admitted it.
Oh my God.
I've characterized the central finding of the story, which was that the payment of the $400 million was not done until after the prisoners are released. I'm not disputing that.
In basic English, you're saying that you wouldn't give them the $400 million in cash until the prisoners were released, correct?
That's correct.
Oopsie. All right, Dana. Dismantle us a little bit. What did we just see there?
Unpack it.
So remember when President Obama did his press conferences, he's like, you silly people, we already talked about this. Come on, we already knew all of this. And I think in their brains that they can rationalize it. They would say, well, we had already made the deal with Iran. We had already said that their money was going to be released. We already knew that we were going to get our prisoners back. And it just happened to happen on the same day. Who cares? Well, it matters in that if the rest of the world believes that you pay money for prisoners, American prisoners, that's a problem. But secondly, I don't understand their extreme need for so much secrecy. Why not just be transparent about it up front? Because now it looks like they're caught in another situation of trying to make their Iran deals look better than it actually is.
I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I might I might defend the deal in the sense that if I were them, I would have been honest and I said, we didn't pay for the prisoners. We got them back. This deal was done. We owed the $500 million from the seizure from the Iran hostage crisis in 1979. We were supposed to send it over, and then we said, you know what, we're not going to send it to you until we get these people back. And Iran's like going, wait a minute, that's not part of the deal. Well, guess what? Part of the deal, we did it. And I would have come out and said, we screwed Iran on this. Yeah. But instead, they played secrecy, and they look stupid.
Yeah, I mean, but there's no excuse or justification that they lied about it. Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, my God, we're not supposed to negotiate with terrorists, okay, or state sponsors of terrorism like Iran. We throw so much money at them. They screw us. Can I say that?
I think you
every time. I mean, it's just unbelievable, and I don't get it. It's like we don't learn. And it's like, why are we doing this? Because the money that the U.S. is giving, congratulations, Obama administration, all of that money just went to groups like Hezbollah and Hamas and people that commit acts of terror internationally. It's unbelievable.
Juan, are we opening up for more Americans to be taken for ransom money?
No, not at all. Now, I don't think we pay ransom. I mean, I actually agree with what Greg said, but I will say this. You know, this is a situation where Americans, I think we're not clear up front, and they should have been up front about it, that we're not giving you the money, which was a separate negotiation, but we're not giving you money until we are comfortable. But I think what we're seeing today is people who don't like the Iran deal, they're using this to attack the administration.
All right, we didn't get our FBI agent back either. I mean, it's just something I would...
Levinson.
Yeah, Levinson. Why, I mean, who makes that deal without getting him back? And it's confirmed, even by the State Department, that he is, in fact, in Iran. I can't take it.
I gotta go. You guys are killing me. I took my earpiece out because they're yelling at me.
Is that why?
Next, driverless cars may soon be coming to a road near you, but is America prepared for the impact they could have? Jobs, safety, and the imminent takeover of the human race by robots. That felt as a monologue next.
Yeah.